Alright, so this is part 2 of the locator. By now you should have already created this in the first video tutorial. This is going to be part 2. I'm going to show you how to dimension this and put in a orthographic or multi-view drawing, however you want to call it. But again, this is the project that we're working on. So the first thing I need to do right now is I got to make sure I save this. And right now it's imperative that you do save this, and make sure you save it in the right spot. Like I'm going to save mine to my desktop. I'm sure you guys don't have access to your desktop, so make sure you save it to your student drive, or better yet, a flash drive. So this is going to be called a locator. You have to save it in order to create the next file that we're going to create. So the next drawing we're going to create is going to be off this drawing, but it's going to be orthographic. This is called a part drawing in Inventor. The orthographic drawing is going to be a little bit different than this. It's going to show essentially going to be this with a front view here, or a side view, whatever you want to call it. I usually call this top. This is my front view, and I'm just missing a side view. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the Inventor, the I files, whatever you want to call it. We're going to open up a new drawing. Mine's probably going to crash on me. Bear with me. Now, usually we're doing a standard.ipt file, but now we're going to do a standard.idw. This is called a drawing file in Inventor. We're just going to hit create. Once it loads up, now the criteria for this doesn't explain anything to change on the file. Actually, if I come down here, it doesn't have anything down below that says this is what I'm looking at. This is called you have a title block and you have a border. So in this drawing, it looks like he deletes the border, which we'll do that. We'll delete the border, and then we'll just draw this out orthographically and put the dimensions in. So if I come up here, this is the border. We're going to leave that be. Here's the title block. We're just going to hit delete on this one. We're going to leave it a blank title block. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the base. Actually, before we do that, let's change the sheet size. If I click on the sheet, right click, and I want you to do edit sheet, and we're going to change the sheet size to change it to A. I believe A is correct. Yeah, A. We're just going to hit OK. It kind of makes it a little bit bigger for us. Alright, now let's get started. So we have the sheet size. We changed that to A, and we deleted the title block over here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my base. It's called base view. Now, I don't know if you've done this before. Some of you guys might have. But this is going to click and give me a few views. Now this is going to be my front view. Here's my top view. I'm going to need one to the right. Now it's not asking for an isometric, but let's put that in there anyways, because I think it always looks better when you have an isometric view of it too. I'm going to right click, hit create. So what I did is I clicked on both views, and all three views I hit create. Now this is kind of going outside the border, so I'm going to double click on here. And I'm going to scale this to make it smaller, just so it fits the page. So I'm going to click on 1/2 for the scale. I'm going to hit OK. And to make it smaller, he doesn't ask for that, but I think it's kind of nice when you have the isometric view. Generally, when you have a multi-view or orthographic view, you'll have all of your views, including that. So one thing I'm going to do is just give myself a little bit more room, so I'm going to kind of bunch these closer together. And just kind of give yourself enough space. I'm going to drag this down a little bit. Enough space between the views to put all your dimensions. just going to kind of play around and just... And you always want to work with your first base view first. So now once that's done, now it's time to start dimensioning. So what this is stating is it wants you to dimension all the views that it currently has. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my annotate, and I'm going to hit dimension. I'm going to click from here. So first thing I need to do is I need to find my center marks, and I put some center marks for the holes right here. So I'm just going to click, and if I click on the radius, it's going to give me those center marks, which is nice. Now we're ready. Now after I have the center marks, I'm ready to start the dimensioning. So here I'm going to add a dimension 1.06, and dimension from there to there, from here to here, here to here, and there to there. So let's go back to Inventor. Grab my dimension tool, click from this point to the center point, click, and this we're just going to leave everything exactly how it is, so we're just going to hit OK. So there's that one. I need a dimension from this point to this point, hit OK. So this one, it's not exactly the dimension we want, so we're going to hit override, and we're going to type in 0.72. That was my fault, I forgot to add that dimension in the video, but not a big deal. Oh, 0.76. 0.76. Hit OK. We need to have a dimension from here to here. It should be 1, perfect. And make sure they're lined up. Okay, and dimension from this line to this line, 0.62. Hit OK. So that's all the ones over here. Now let's keep going. 2.12. Say dimension from this point to this point. Make sure you bring it past the object, and I always like to do an overall dimension. Generally, your regular dimensions are 1 click out. Bring it past the 3 clicks. Past the furthest part of your object, hit OK. We need a dimension from here to here. This is just going to be 1 click. Hit OK. Here to there. Hit OK. And I feel like there's one. Is there any more dimensions? Nope. Okay. So let's keep going to the front side. So we gotta do a dimension from overall dimension from here to here. I'll do that first. Hit OK. Click from here to here. One thing I like to do is just keep going back through and checking them. And if we have to change any, we can. Like I showed you before. 2.5. Hit OK. Now the angle is going to be a little different, so we're going to click this line and click this line to portray an angle. Hit OK. Dimension from this point to this point. 2.62. Hit OK. And gotta have the overall height. 2.26 from here to here. Bring it out right there. Hit OK. So there you go. That's the dimension. If you want to change this, because this is gray color, make sure you hit save. But if you want to change this to a different color, kind of makes it appear like a pretty good. You can go back in here too. I forgot to add this dimension. Either way you do it, 0.72. If I hit finish sketch, it'll actually change it. Once I save it, it'll actually change it in here too. You can actually see it move. Or 0.76. I'll change to 0.76. Again, I finished sketching. You'll see how it actually moves for us. 0.76. So now it's perfect. But anyways, sometimes that happens. I just forgot to add that dimension. But you can go back through and double click on that to change it. You can click on this and change the color. Make sure it's shaded. If you want to change the color, or that's unshaded, I'll leave this shaded. It's best to have your actual objects unshaded. It's easier for people to see the dimensions. I'm just going to leave them at gray. Alright, but that's all, folks. Make sure you save it. This is the drawing that you're actually going to turn in. So make sure you save this drawing, not the actual part, but this is the actual drawing you're going to turn in.